class yesterday where I was trying to basically give a demonstration of how the things are going to be working. So, what all things I'm going to be covering as part of this particular sales and distribution module. I was giving you a good presentation of how this particular course has been designed, what is going to be the outcome of it, and how much knowledge a 3 to 4 years consultant is going to be having in the real time. That much of knowledge I'm going to be doing from this particular training program. And in yesterday's class, I was trying to basically talk about what this SAP represent. So SAP stands for System Application and Products, which is going to be used in data processing. And we call this particular SAP as an ERP tool. And there are a lot of companies which are using this particular software to keep a record of their day-to-day transactions, for reports generation, and for data analysis. These are the three major reasons why companies want to use this SAP product for. And apart from that, I was trying to basically talk about the sales and distribution as a module. So what exactly we are going to be learning it up. So when we try to talk about this particular sales, it is going to be taking care of selling whatever products company want to sell it. So if company want to sell any particular product in the market, it is going to be the sales department which will be responsible for that. And we have distribution. So once we receive an order from the customer, company need to make sure the products are going to be delivered to the customer on time. So all delivery related activities are also going to be part of SD module, which we are going to be taking care of it. And these are going to be the areas where we are going to be working as part of the sales and distribution. One, we are going to be taking or handling activities related to orders. Second, delivery related. Third, billing related. Fourth, pricing. Because whenever customer places an order, we need to maintain pricing related data. So how selling price will be getting calculated, how discounts will be offered, how taxes will be collected. So all that particular things we are going to be putting down as part of this particular price. And fifth area where we try to work is going to be called as cross-model integration. So sales team is not going to be working independently in the real time. We are going to be working with all these particular modules so that our sales cycle is going to be running in a smooth way. So for that reason, I was trying to focus on this one. So along with sales, where we are going to be working, what skill is required for an SD consultant. So we are going to be working with functional modules. We are going to be working out with technical modules, and we try to adapt that particular skill, what is required to run our sales process over here. And apart from that, I was trying to mention the project. So what exactly we are going to be learning as part of this particular project orientation. And this particular project workshop is going to be conducted only once we get good hands-on experience understanding SAP sales and distribution module. So if you know how to work on SD module, but you don't have good hands-on experience working in the project environment, it is going to be hard to survive in the market. So this particular skill is very much required for us when you're dealing on it. And apart from that,
Hello.
I was going to talk about this one. So what all things we are going to be learning it up. So we are going to be working with two things over here. We try to basically understand what is going to be the job role of an end user and what is going to be the job role of a consultant. So what is the job role of an end user? What is the job role of a consultant? That is what we are going to be looking after over here. What exactly you mean by it? How exactly it works out? That is what I'm going to be explaining it in today's session. And we try to work out with the SAP application as well, where I'm trying to give you a walkthrough of how user need to log into SAP application, what are the screens we are having, and who will be working on which screen. So before we try to get into that, I'm trying to talk more about this particular sales process over here. So when we try to talk about this particular sales, so what exactly we are going to be learning it up. So we try to basically learn how to run sales life cycle. If any company want to sell their product in the market, what are going to be the different steps involved in this life cycle? How the process flow is going to be started and how the process flow is going to be ended. Every life cycle is going to be having process flow. It will be having a start step. It will be having an end step. So how that process flow is going to be carried. Where first step would be creation of a sales order. For example, I'm not talking about pre-sales activities. I'm trying to talk about receiving an order from the customer. So let's say I'm just going to make it more simple to understand how the sales process is going to be working. So let's say we have a company called as Samsung. We have a company on the name of Samsung. Now, customer is trying to place an order for Samsung company. So we record the transaction as a sales order. So let's say customer is trying to place an order for S26 mobile. He wanted quantity of 10 units. So we receive that order from that customer. So once we receive an order from the customer for this particular order, we are going to be delivering the stock. So company need to make sure the stock is going to be delivered to the customer on time. So we try to deliver the stock. And once we deliver the stock to the customer, then we are going to be creating a billing document. We'll be raising an invoice. Billing document is nothing but invoice. We create an invoice and we share it to the customer to do the payment. And based on this particular billing document, we try to go for collection of the payments. So incoming payments. This is nothing but we try to record this particular transaction as account receivables. We need to receive the payment from the customer. So this is how the process flow is going to be carried out. So the process will be starting with order creation. Once we receive an order, we deliver the stock, we raise an invoice, we go for collection of the payments. This is a typical sales cycle, what we are going to be learning it on. So this is going to be what we try to call it as transaction data. Because today customer can place an order for 10 units, tomorrow he can place an order for 40 units, day after tomorrow he can place an order for 100 units. So these values keep on changing. So that is the reason we are going to be recording it as what? Transaction data. And who will be responsible for recording of this transaction data on SAP application? This is going to be job role of an end user. This is going to be their job role. They will be logging into SAP application and they try to feed this information into SAP. Which customer is trying to place an order for which material, on which date product need to be delivered, invoice has been created or not, recording incoming payments. This is going to be the role of an end user. They need to record this transaction in SAP application. That is what they are going to be doing it. So please remember, end user job role is nothing but feed the data into SAP systems. So that is the reason they are going to be given access to work on front end application. Okay, so I was trying to mention this one yesterday as well. When you're working on SAP, you're going to be having two screens, front end, back end. So people who work on the front end application, we call them as end user. People who work on the back end, we call them as consultant. So what is the role of an end user? To record day-to-day transaction. So this is an example of a transaction data. So they create an order, they create a delivery document, they create a billing document, they record the payment on the front end application of the SAP. Okay. If end user need to record this transaction on the front end application, now who need to build the system? So consultant is the one who will be building the system from the back. That is what we are going. So, so what as a consultant we do? We try to build SAP application. Okay, now see, so what is a consultant job role? So consultant job role need to basically build SAP application. Okay, so consultant need to build SAP application. Now, where exactly consultant will be building it? Now, when I'm trying to use this particular term called as build, it is nothing but combination of standard solution plus custom solution. That is what you mean by this particular term called as build. If there is a solution available in SAP, we use that particular solution and we map the requirement. If there is no solution in SAP, we need to develop it. This is nothing but designing. You need to design a solution or you need to develop a solution. That is what you mean by build. So build is nothing but combination of standard solution plus custom solution put together over here. Okay. Now, how you are going to be designing the solution? Do you know how to write a code? No, we are not going to be doing any kind of coding activities. This is a module where there will be no coding required. You don't require any knowledge on C, C++, Java, .NET, nothing. Because you are not going to be acting as a developer who will be designing the code. Now, who will be write that code? ABAP. He is the one. So people who is having knowledge on ABAP language, they are the one who will be writing the code. So you need to communicate with ABAPers. You need to explain the requirement, what ABAPer need to design. So that is the reason we are going to be working out with ABAP integration. So how we are going to be communicating with ABAPers, what stuff they need to design in SAP, what code they need to write in SAP. So you need to share the requirement and ABAPer is the one who will be writing that particular coding. So that is the reason we are going to be covering SD ABAP integration. So how we are going to be communicating with ABAPer for any kind of developments which need to be performed. So please remember, consultant is going to be the one who will be designing the application, and that designing development activities are going to be performed on backend, not front end. So consultants are going to be working on the backend application. End user will be working on front end application. So that is the reason in SAP you're going to be having two screens to work: front end, back end. So back end is always under the control of consultant. Front end is always under the control of end user. We never train end users how to work on the back end application. So if you train end users how to work on the back end, what happens? So they know how to design the system, they know how to develop the system. So your job will be gone. So they get into the backend, they design the application, they get into the front end, and they record the transactions. So we have a limitation maintained. So end users will be given access only to the front end application. Consultants should have knowledge on backend plus front end because you need to train the users how to record the transaction data. So after this particular course completion, you will be having knowledge of how end user will be doing their day-to-day activities, how consultant will be having or doing their day-to-day activities. Now, this is one thing which I wanted to explain it. Now, next thing. Now, how to log into SAP. So when we try to get into SAP, you need to make sure on your work machines, let it be your laptop or desktop, you need to make sure you require SAP GUI or SAP logon pad need to be installed. And this is how it is going to be working. So this is what we try to call it as logon pad. And when you double click on it, this of the screen is going to be looking up over here. So you're going to be finding list of servers will be displayed up in this particular page. Okay. Now, who will be providing this particular data? This is going to be shared by basis department. Okay. Where you need to log in which server you need to work, that information will be provided by the basis department. Now, If you want to know the properties of any particular server, select that particular server, right click on it, click on properties. So when you click on this properties icon, a new window will be getting displayed. So these are the values what basis department is going to be providing it to you. So if you want to log into SAP, you need to interact with basis department. You require all these particular values and you need to work on the system. So that is the reason we are going to be working out with basis integration as well. So to which user, what role or what transaction access need to be provided. So if you want to log in into the system, basis team is going to be responsible for server setup. They will be responsible for SAP installation. Then only you can log in. So please do remember that. And now I'm just trying to log in into SAP. So when you double click on it, so place your cursor on that respective server, double click on it. This will be taking us to the welcome page. So this particular page is going to be same for end user and for consultant. So anybody who want to work on SAP, they require a username and a password. So your username password creations are going to be taken care by the basis department. Okay. And next thing, this is going to be SAP system number. So right now, my basis team has given me access to work with this particular system number. Excuse me. But in real time, the system numbers may get changed. Okay, so right now I'm having access to work out with the system number called as 220. And here I try to enter my username and password. So please remember, length of password is going to be maximum of 40 letters, which are alphanumerical combination or special symbols are also accepted. So don't try to enter password wrongly continuously for 3 times. If you enter password wrong continuously for 3 times, your username is going to be blocked. You need to put a request to the basis team and they unrelease it. Okay. So whenever you're trying to log in into the system, make sure you enter the right username, right password, and in which language you want to log in. So SAP is going to be supported in multiple languages. So if you want to log in into English or German language or Mandarin language, you can log in and you can go for recording the transactions. Because there are a lot of countries which doesn't speak English. If they want to use SAP, they should not have language barrier. So that is one reason SAP came out with multiple languages where they can log in and they can use this application for. So right now I'm trying to log in English language. This is a code used for that. And once you click on enter, okay. Now you can see we got a pop-up saying that name or password is incorrect. Now what I've done, I've entered wrong password. And this is an error message over here. So in SAP, when you're trying to work, you're going to be having different types of messages as well. You're going to be having different types of messages. How to identify what is the message you're working? One, we are going to be calling it as warning message. Second, we name it as error message. Third, we call it as success message. And fourth, we name it as information message. These are the 4 different types of messages we are going to be having. So if you find anything displayed in yellow in color, we call it as warning message. Error always will be represented in red. Success in green. And information messages in the form of pop-ups, or it's going to be a dialog box. Okay, so right now you can see when I try to log in, we got an error message over here. Let me try to enter the right password. Select the language, click on enter. Once you click on enter, Now you can see we got an information message. Now system is trying to communicate to me saying that you entered wrong password one time. This is a warning for me. Try to click on continue, and this take up to the first screen, which we call it as SAP Easy Access page. So this page is what we try to call it as front end application. So this is one thing you need to remember. So end users are going to be given access to work out with the screen called as SAP Easy Access. This is the screen name of front end application. Okay, so this is going to be the page where end users will be recording their day-to-day activities. And you can find this box. This box is what we call it as command box. In this command box, we are going to be entering commands. But in SAP terms, we are not going to be calling it as commands. We are going to be naming it as transaction codes. We are going to be calling it as transaction codes, or in short, we are going to be calling it as T codes. And the length of transaction code for few, it is going to be 4 letters. For few, it is going to be 6 letters. In sales and distribution module, for most of the transaction code, the length is of 4 letters. Now, let me try to show you how to create an order as an example. So to create an order, we use a shortcut, a transaction code called as BA01. And once you click on enter, this how the page is going to be looking. So where we need to enter the values and we need to go for recording of the transaction. So here we try to maintain the document type, what is going to be used. Along with that, we try to maintain all this particular piece of information, sales, stock, distribution, channel, division, all these values. As we go on, I'm going to be explaining what exactly it means, why we need to create, how exactly it works out. And once you click on enter over here, okay, so I'm just trying to use another document type. This how the pages are going to be looking, screens are going to be looking, where we need to enter the data and we need to record the transactions. So we have another transaction code on the name of VL01N, which is used for creating a delivery document. So this is how the page is going to be looking. So this is what an end user is going to be doing it now. So please remember, end user will be given access to work on SAP Easy Access screen, where they try to go for recording of transaction data. So from this particular screen, if you want to get into the backend, now how to get into the backend application, where as a consultant, we try to build the system. In this particular box, so I'm going to be entering a transaction code called as SPR. We are going to be entering a transaction code called as SPRO over here. Now, when we try to enter SPRO, SPRO stands for SAP Reference Objects. SPRO stands for SAP Reference Object over here. Okay. Now, the reason why we need to enter this particular transaction code, this is going to be the bridge between front end and the back end. If you want to get into the back end, you enter this particular T code, click on enter, will land up in this particular page. So whatever project has been allocated to you, you need to select that particular projects and you need to click on SAP reference IMG to get into the backend. So click on SAP reference IMG and this is going to be the screen name. We call it as display IMG screen, where as a consultant, we are going to be working. So no end user will be given access to work on this particular screen. This is purely used by the consultant where we try to build the application. So this is going to be the screen name. So consultants are going to be working on display IMG screen. Now we have an abbreviation maintained for this IMG as well, where this IMG stands for implementation guide. IMG stands for Implementation Guide. Okay. This is how you are going to be working. And if you want to get back to the front end, try to click on this back option. Again, click on back option. We get into the front end. From front end, if you want to get into back end, run transaction code SPRL, click on SAP reference IMG, and this will be taking us to the back end. Or you have one more transaction code to work. Execute transaction code SIMG. These are all shortcuts to get into the back end. Execute transaction code SIMG, click on enter. It will be taking us straight away to the backend. Okay, so this is going to be some T codes what you need to remember. This is basically to get into display IMG screen. Okay. Like this, we are going to be having number of transaction codes to work. As we go on, we try to work on it. In a single day, it is not going to be possible to remember all the T codes. It takes some time. It takes some practice to work it out. As you do your practice, you will be able to follow all the things. Now, what all things you need to remember? Always remember display IMG is going to be under the control of consultant, and end users will be working on SAP Easy Access Screen. Okay. Now, once you have this particular information, where consultants will be working, where end user will be working. Now, what else you need to know about the system? You need to know how to find the name of the application. You need to know the name of the application. So if I provide SAP system, you must be in a position to identify what is the version, whether you're working on the latest version or not, whether you're working on ECC application or you're working on S4HANA application. So how you find that technical details. So SAP application technical details, how you're going to be finding it. That is one thing you need to be having a good knowledge on. So if you want to get that particular technical details over here, so where and how you need to check it. This is what we try to call it as menu bar. Okay. So in the menu bar, you're going to be finding an option called as system. Under system, you're going to be finding an option called as status. So click on this particular status icon. And when you try to click on the status icon, a new window is going to be getting displayed up. This window is going to be giving us a lot of information, like what is the client in which I've logged in, what is the username, language, when was my previous login, how many times I've entered the wrong password. You can find all that things are going to be getting recorded. Next thing, if you try to scroll down over here, you're going to be finding this particular tab, SAP System Data. And under that, you're going to be finding this one, product version. So if you want to know the name of the application, this is the place where you need to get in. So this is our icon to get into the details. Magnifying glass, try to hit on it. A new window is going to be getting opened up. Okay. And try to click on installed product versions. And when you click on install product versions, here you're going to be finding the name of the application on which we are working. So we call it as S4HANA on-premise 2022 release. This is the name of the application. So application name, I'm just trying to call it as an application name. We are working with S4HANA 2022 release. Now, the latest one which is there or available in the market is S4HANA 2025 release. Okay. Now, what this name suggests. So when we try to talk about S4, S4 stands for Simplified Business Suite for HANA. That is what you mean by S4. HANA is different, S4 HANA is different. Remember that. HANA is different and S4 HANA is different. So S4 stands for Simplified Business Suite for HANA. And the version. So the version on which we are trying to deal with 2022. We have another version 2023, another version 2025. So the latest version which is available in the market is 2025. Okay, so right now I'm having access to 2022 version. I'm just trying to show you that as an example. And you're going to be having S4 HANA deployment options. Okay, whether you're trying to work with the cloud version, on-premise edition, that is going to be what you need to know. You're going to be having two versions, on-premise, on cloud. Now, what is the difference between this on-premise, on cloud? On-premise means SAP servers, or you can call it as SAP system infrastructure, will be maintained at business location. Who want to use SAP at that particular location? We are going to be installing the entire service over here. So SAP servers, SAP system infrastructure will be maintained at the business location. Please remember. So business need to take care of the service. Whereas when you're trying to work with on-cloud version over here, so SAP servers will be under SAP. So no need to maintain any kind of system infrastructure. The entire thing is going to be under the control of your SAP itself. So you need to run the space and you need to log in and you need to. So that is how it is going to be working. So you're going to be having deployment options. One, we are going to be calling it as on-premise version, and second one we try to call it as on-cloud version. On-premise, you're going to be finding servers are going to be maintained at the business location. On cloud, SAP servers will be maintained or it will be under the control of SAP itself. So right now my server is under my location. So that is the reason we have it specified as on-premise. Okay, so that is how you are going to be identifying it. This is one thing. This is a place where you are going to be finding out what is the name of the application. Now, once you know the name of the application, so you need to know the name of the database. So that is going to be the next thing. Because whatever data you're going to be storing in the application is going to be getting updated in the database. And the name of the database we are trying to work, we name it as HANA. So that is the reason as for HANA is different and HANA is different. So HANA, we are going to be calling it as a database. And we are having a naming convention maintained for this, where HANA stands for High Performance Analytic Appliance. This is what you mean by HANA. High Performance Analytic Appliance, where H has been picked from high, AN from analytic, and A from appliance. High performance analytic appliance. And this is a database which has been fully developed by SAP. It's not a third party database. This database has been developed by SAP. Okay. And this particular database has been developed based on row plus column format. If any database has been developed based on row plus column format, what happens? Transaction recording is going to be faster. Report generations will be faster. So system will be taking small amount of time to store the data, and system will be taking a small amount of time to retrieve the reports as well. So this is a powerful database what SAP has developed using modern technology. So this will be used only for this application. If you want to use this database for any other application, it is not going to be possible. This has been purely designed to run the application, SAP product itself. Now, these are few technical things where you need to know and how to find out the name of the database. So it's the same thing. In this particular page itself, if you try to scroll down, you're going to be finding this particular option maintained as HDB, where HDB stands for HANA database. HDB stands for HANA database. This is a place where you're going to be finding it. So this is how you are going to be finding out the technical details of the system. So please remember, if you want to find out the technical details once you receive any particular server, try to click on system from the menu bar, click on status icon, you get a new message. If you want to see the product version, you can get over here, you can check it out. If you want to know the name of the database, try to scroll down, you are going to be finding the name of the database over here. Okay. So this is about technical details. And if you want to log off from SAP, you can take the help of this icon. As of now, we have logged into one screen. You can click on yes, you will be logged off. Again, if you want to log in, open your GUI, open the server, add username, add password, and try to log in. And if you want to do multitasking by opening different windows, you can take the help of transaction code called as /O. This is going to be used to open a new window. Try to click on /O. Already there is one window which has been opened. If you want to open up a second window, click on create. A new window will be getting open. Like this, you can open maximum of 6 windows at a time, and you can do multi-transaction recording. And if you want to exit from all windows at a time, you can use a transaction code called as /NEX. So click on /NEX, click on enter, you will be exited from all windows. Again, you need to relog in. So these are going to be few T codes what you need to remember, because every day we are going to be working on it. So /O is one transaction code to open up a new window. And we have another one /NEX. This is basically to exit from SAP application. That's how it works out over here. These are two things you need to remember: how to log in, how to log off. If you want to open up a new window, how to do that. Now, once you have this particular knowledge, now what is the next thing? Now, when you're trying to work on SAP, as I mentioned earlier, you're going to be having two screens, front end, back end. Now, front end application name, we are trying to name it as Easy Access, and back end application name, we are naming it as Display IMG. Now, end user can run recording of transaction data using easy access, or he will be provided access to work out with SAP Fiori apps. He can record the transaction using Fiori apps as well. This is nothing but a web-based application. So no need for the end user to sit in front of the laptops or desktop, log in into SAP for recording the transaction. They will be provided with a web link address. So they can use that web link address in mobile phone or in a tab. They can log in and they can record the transaction data as well. Now, how to log into that? Now, I'm just trying to show you one T code. If you want to log in into Fiori apps from GUI, we are going to be using transaction code /N/UI2/FLP. There is a transaction code to log into Fiori application from SAP GUI. This is a T code for that, /N/UI2/FLP. This is one approach. If you have web link address available, you can straight away use that web link and you can log in. If you want to find a web link, This is going to be the approach what we are going to be doing it. So you need to log into SAP. Now try to enter the transaction code /n/UI2/FLP. So I enter the transaction code over here. Try to click on enter. You're going to be getting this particular message. Now this is going to be the web link what is required for us. Okay, so normally this configuration is going to be handled by your basis team. They configured the system and they will be providing you the web link. So you can use this web link to log into SAP Fiori using mobile or tab or a desktop or a laptop. So give the permission to log in now. So this is how it's going to be looking. Just I try to click on advanced over here and continue. So this is how the screens are going to be looking. You people also will be given access to work with the Fiori. Okay, so I'm going to be training you how to work on the GUI, how to work on the Fiori. Now, please remember, Fiori is used only for front end. If you want to develop the system using Fiori, it is not going to be possible. We use this one for recording front end activities. So whatever username is provided, you need to enter the username and the password. GUI username and Fiori username are going to be same. Try to click on log on and the apps are going to be getting loaded up over here. This is how your dashboard is going to be looking. This is going to be purely designed for end users, not for the consultants. So this is how your Fiori dashboard is going to be looking. Okay, and it is going to be totally customizable to which user, what apps need to be displayed, it can be controlled. If I don't want any particular app access need to be provided, I can remove that. Now, for example, if I try to click on sales order monitoring, apps related to this particular sales order monitoring are going to be getting displayed up. Okay, so you'll be finding everything will be loaded up. So when you try to click on sales orders, you'll be finding it. You're going to be having different tabs to work for different functionalities. Now, here, the most commonly used app is going to be called as sales order fulfillment app. That's going to be the one. So if you try to open this particular app, so user will be having access for entire sales transaction which has been carried out in the business. So this is how the dashboard is going to be looking. It's taking some time for the system to load that particular apps. Just give me a moment, like it will be getting loaded up. So this how the screens are going to be looking over here. So if end user want to track any particular order, what is the status of any particular order or a delivery or a billing? So when they need to receive the payments. So all that informations are going to be getting displayed up over here. Okay. So if you want to find information with reference to order or invoices, you will be able to find it. Customer wise, if you want to find out what exactly has been done with reference to that particular customer, how many transactions has been recorded, for what all orders has been created, what all orders for which deliveries are pending, any blockages, you will be having entire information with reference to that customer, which will be getting loaded up. So we are going to be learning all these particular steps. So how we are going to be using these apps for loading the data, for reporting purpose, for data analysis purpose. How these dashboards are going to be created as well. Not this bad dashboard. I'm talking about this particular apps. So to which user, what apps need to be given access to work. So this is what we are going to be learning it. So how we are going to be using this Fiori apps for recording front-end activities, not back-end. Backend, if you want to do anything, this is going to be the only way. You need to get into GUI, you need to run transaction code SIMG, get into the backend. This is the place where we are going to be working. And where we try to work in the backend, this is the place. Sales and distribution. Okay. And if you want to know what exactly the sales and distribution module represent, there is a documentation provided. So click on this particular documentation. There will be some notes which has been published by SAP. You can read this particular notes and you can know the functionality of it. And if you want to get into the details, you need to expand the notes. These are nothing but we are going to be calling them as notes. You need to expand the notes. You need to get into the details over here. So under sales and distribution, we are having a topic called as basic functions. When you expand this particular basic functions, these are all going to be the activities what we are going to be learning as part of the sales and distribution module. These are all going to be the topics. As we go on, we are going to be activating each and every configuration and we try to explore that. So this is a small introduction to your SAP application. So how you navigate to the front end, how you navigate to the back end, so how you're going to be logging into this particular theory. So if you need to log off, we have an option of signing off. You can do that. If you want to change the color, if you want to change the settings, everything can be done. So you just need to click on edit homepage so you can do whatever changes you want to perform. If you want to delete, you can do that. If you want to add any apps, you can also do that. So as we go on, we are going to be playing with this particular theory functionality as well. So this is what I wanted to do it up, explaining you how you get into SAP, how screens are going to be looking, who will be working where, what is the front end application, what is the back end application screen names. That is what I want to do it up. So in tomorrow's class, I'm going to be starting with the first chapter of sales and distribution. So where we are going to be getting into the subject and we try to start building the application as well. Okay. So this is what I wanted to do it up in today's session, giving you an overview of how you try to log into the system, where end users are going to be working, where consultants are going to be working. As we go on, we are going to be working more of this.